Thank you, Dr. Swami. The next question I would like to ask you is, do you think China will ever abandon Pakistan?
Very good question. And it's of utmost importance to our national security. China, from what I know, and you have been with me on several trips to China, you know how highly they regard me in China because of whatever I did at the time Morarji was prime minister, not allowing India to be a base for the Soviet Union and thereby saving China on that Usuri River battle that China was having with the Soviets. And subsequently also a number of issues. I've understood them to be driven by three things as far as Pakistan is concerned. Number one, in the 1950s, when no one was really with China and remained throughout the 1950s and 60s, was Pakistan. Pakistan was a member of the American military alliance called CENTO and SEATO. And still they had diplomatic relations with China. And they had trade with China, which was being boycotted by everybody. We had good relations with China, but then Nehru blew it by 1959. But with Pakistan, they had been having steady friendship. And so by nature, they are like that. The Chinese, if somebody is with them in difficult days, then they remember you for a long time. And in my personal case also is because in the late 70s, when the Soviets were against China and I was instrumental in seeing that Janata did not side with the Soviet Union against China, they remember that. And that's why Deng Xiaoping, who doesn't receive visitors normally, and certainly not a person who's not head of the government, but he made a special exception, invited me. And then on my request, he agreed to open Kailash Mansarovar, which everybody took a bet they will never agree. And they have continued to never interfere with that pilgrimage. So this is a factor which makes them go with Pakistan. But there are two other factors which we have not exploited, and we need to see how to do it without being crude about it. One is China is very upset with Pakistan because Pakistan trained Muslim terrorists have gone to Uzbekistan, from Uzbekistan and other places, Kazakhstan, so on. They have gone to Xinjiang, and they tried to create problems there. And the Chinese, of course, have been very brutal with the Muslims, and that's why if Imran Khan wants India to adopt the Chinese method to deal with Muslims, Muslim minorities, I think. I mean, he's not protesting against China, so I suppose he's not opposed to it. So I think we can also follow that methodology. So they are unhappy with China, with Pakistan, that is not able to stop it. They don't believe that it can't be stopped. And so under these circumstances, we have a window of opportunity. The third thing is something which I've been saying for a long time. I said it to Chandrasekhar, I said it to Morarji Desai, I said it to Narasimha Rao, I said it to Rajiv Gandhi. In the recesses of the mind of the Chinese is the question of the problem of Taiwan and Tibet. Now, Tibet, we have signed an agreement twice. So it's surprising that we should have to sign it twice, but we did. First time was by Jawaharlal Nehru in 1954 when we handed over Tibet without any conditions. And the second time was even worse when Atal Bihari Vajpayee in 2003 signed an agreement with China, allowing China to break Tibet into 4 parts. and 3 parts would be merged with the other states. For instance, the state where the capital, where the Chengdu is, there, that Sichuan, as it's called, Gansu province, and one other province. Those 3 are bordering these 3 pieces of Tibet. They have been merged there. So now Tibet is no more the old Tibet we knew. It's 1/4. And we signed it. Now, therefore, the 2 issues which bother them, we are not anywhere have taken any stand ever which is anti-Chinese. The Americans are always doing balancing act on this. And certainly on Taiwan, they're doing it openly. So there is always this fear in the back of their mind that one day the Americans will do something there. So we have to take a call. I'm not saying advocating what we should do, because this is something that has to be done by a discussion. We have to assure China that if ever the United States and China go to war for either Taiwan or Tibet or both, we'll be neutral. Not asking. I'm not saying they will not. They don't. There's no expectation that we will take sides, but they don't want us to take the side of America. And generally speaking, in international affairs, we shouldn't be with America on all issues. We should think ourselves as a third angle of a triangle. So this trilateral or triumvirate or Trishul, whatever you want to call it, India, China, United States, they should be independent countries coming together, agreeing on some things and not agreeing on other. But if the bottom line is that if the Americans and the Chinese get into struggle, we will be neutral. And that has never been conveyed to China. If you do this, one is, accentuate this feeling about the terrorists in Xinjiang, and 2, tell China very explicitly, and finally, tell the Chinese that you should be neutral when we deal with Pakistan. They have been not intervening in any of our previous wars. They didn't in 1999 in Kargil, they did not intervene in 1971, and they did not intervene in 1965. So therefore, I think this is a way by which we can disentangle China from Pakistan.
Dr. Swami, how important do you think is the OBOR, One Belt, One Road scheme of China? Pakistan is an active partner in OBOR.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you raised this question. I thought this will be an esoteric question, so I didn't deal with it. But now that you raised it, if you tell the Chinese that please don't go through Aksai Chin, don't go through POK, although they have put in part of the agreement that they are not that the final status of POK will be decided once India and Pakistan come to an agreement, all that thing. But anyway, don't go through POK. You come via Uttar Pradesh or Uttarakhand and go to Bombay by that. The Chinese really want this border road thing for an access to the West through the ocean. And Pakistan was ready to give it. But they know also that it is an unstable environment there with Baluchis and revolt, and then there's also Iran there. So therefore, if we were to suggest that, or from Kunming come to Rangoon to Calcutta and then come to the ocean, then I think we can join that border road, belt and road project or whatever it's called.
OBOR, One Belt, One Road.
No, it is a BRI. It is called Belt Road.
Belt Road Initiative.
The new name is Belt Road Initiative. Yeah, the new name. So that we can do, and in that case, you see, we will have a fourth angle to our improvement in relations with China.